So whenever the lady would come to talk to us, Mataji, he would have a box of tissues. Like 90% of the time, at some point, the Mataji would cry.
Wow.
And he would not say anything. He wouldn't preach. He wouldn't try to calm her down or something. He would just give her a tissue. And it helps so much.
Episode 23 of Successful Vaishnavas. Thinking Partnerships Part 2 with Akrura Prabhu.
It's time to get inspired. Join us as we celebrate devotee success stories. Preaching, business, community development, leadership and personal growth, all from the point of view of Krishna consciousness. Our goal? To help you to make your life successful.
Welcome back. In this episode, we'll be continuing our interview with Akrura Prabhu, and he'll be discussing about the 40 habits of a thinking coach. Before we jump into the interview, I just sort of take the chance right now to ask you, what topics would you like us to discuss on future episodes of Successful Vaishnavas? When I spoke with Akrura Prabhu recently, he was recommending that rather than just interviewing people, I could also have discussions where, I give more of my input. So I really like that idea, and I'll be doing that either on my own, just discussing ideas that I've been thinking about, or I'll be discussing with someone else and having more of a two-way dialogue about topics. So let me know, what are some of the topics that you would like to be discussed on Successful Vaishnavas? Perhaps you would even like to be part of the discussion. Maybe you'd like me to interview you, or maybe you have someone in mind that you would like me to interview. So please get in touch and let me know so we can tailor this show just for you. Now into the interview with Akrura Prabhu and the 40 habits of a thinking coach. Hare Krishna. I'm excited to be back with Akrura Prabhu today. I got so inspired by hearing about the thinking partnerships and the 10 principles of a thinking environment that we've decided to have a follow-up episode today where we will be discussing
40 habits of a thinking coach.
The basic format, as I think you're suggesting, Prabhu, is that you'll go through these quite quickly, but we might discuss them as we go so that we can, just explore these ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for coming back, Prabhu, and let's get started.
It's nice to be with you again in your podcast for successfulvaishnavas.com. The reason why we are doing this is because Srila Prabhupada said that we want to have devotees who are independent thinkers. And these 40 habits will help you to serve devotees in such a way that they can think for themselves. They can use their intelligence better and use their mind better in devotional service. So these are very common sense principles. Many of them you will recognize. Some of them you already practice. Some of them you have heard of. Some of them are maybe fascinating for you. Some of them maybe you don't understand. But we will go through them and try to clarify and explain briefly each one of them. And if you develop these habits, you will serve devotees better in the area of mentoring, devotee care, coaching, preaching, and supporting devotees in all kinds of ways.
Sounds great.
Number 1, stay focused on what the person speaking to you is saying rather than rehearsing your response. Now, I believe that when you hear the Krishnendu Prabhu, you will also have some maybe thoughts, and please feel welcome to comment.
Okay, thanks.
Anytime you feel. Okay, so we go to number 2. Be interested in exploring different ways of looking at the same issue.
This is quite a big one, I think, in our society, because we have quite a dogmatic viewpoint sometimes, that we have a feeling that there's one right way, that that Prabhupada would have wanted this, or this is the right understanding, and it can be quite a challenge to open our thinking, to look at things in a different way sometimes.
Right. Well, I would say explore different Krishna conscious ways of looking at the issue.
Yeah.
And regarding the first one, again, if you understand that your service in this approach is not to respond, but to actually stimulate their thinking, then number one wouldn't be a big problem. So stay focused on what they are speaking to you, rather than thinking about what will you reply to what they say.
I think it's quite liberating also, actually, that concept, because if someone is thinking that when someone asks me a question, or they're talking, I've got to come up with an answer or something, it's putting kind of pressure on yourself. Whereas if we have the faith that the person has the truth within them, and we can just be there to listen and try to understand, it takes away a kind of a pressure that we're putting on ourselves, that I'm the guru, or I'm the coach, or I'm the whatever, and I need to respond or something. But if we push that away and just say, no, all I have to do is just listen and try to understand, as a starting point, it makes it a lot easier.
Oh, that is a beautiful point. This is a new insight for me. I'm glad this is being recorded. I'm going to write this down. I'm always thinking how it will be easier for the client, but actually it's good to make it easier for the coach too.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3, turn off phones, laptops, the TV, mobile phones, and all kinds of distractions when meeting with people or talking with them. Now, this one is quite clear, but the point is to really do it, not just agree.
Yeah.
Number 4, consider everyone your equal as a thinker. So we already spoke about this in our first podcast.
Yeah.
That we believe that the super soul is in person's heart, and even if it was covered by ignorance, but the super soul can also inspire them and inspire their intelligence, and they can come up with amazing ideas. When I was doing non-directive coaching, or trying to do non-directive coaching in the past, I have seen how devotees have come up with ideas that I could never come up with. I was so happy, I was just shutting up. Number 5, stay aware of your reactions at the feeling level to whatever is being said to you. Now, this is also good to have in life, how you react from within, and what you feel about what people say. Someone might say something disturbing, so how do you feel? How do you control this? How do you choose your reaction? So also observe, how do you react, and how do you feel about what the person is saying. Now, before we move on, I would like to mention something that I forgot to say in the first session, and you actually mentioned part of it, is that in this approach, coach is called a thinking partner and the client is called a thinker.
Okay.
So from now on, when I refer to a client, I will say thinker, and when I refer to a coach, I will say a thinking partner. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
On that number 5, the one that you've just spoken about, the being aware of your reactions at the feeling level. I was recently at a parenting course just this weekend, and they were talking about the importance of reflective listening, to really trying to understand from the other person's point of view. And one of the points that came up was that it's more difficult, because we're talking about parents. Like, so if a child is having trouble at school, then you go up to them and say, "Oh, you look like you're a bit down," and you just sort of open up the opportunity for them to share, and then you say, "Oh, so you're feeling like this and feeling like that." And the point that came up is that if their strong feeling is towards us, like as a parent, it's much harder to do that sort of objective reflection, because our feelings get invoked as well. It could be between the husband and wife, it could be between the children. But when I saw this, it just reminded me of that point that we need to honor our feelings and things like that, but we also get to choose how we respond to them.
Yes. Right. Okay, so let's go to number 6.
Okay.
Share as much accurate information as you have to support the thinking of those around you, or the thinker who is in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So we explained this in the first part about sharing information. Sometimes just because of lack of information, the thinking of a thinker is limited.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't mean to teach. This doesn't mean to take an opportunity, take advantage of this and now speak for a long time, but just briefly share some information that will help the better thinking.
Mm. Yeah, I can imagine, like in a situation where someone has observed something and they've jumped to a conclusion about someone or the situation, but with a little bit more information, they might see it in a totally different way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, number 7, take control of your time and energies so that you are not unduly rushed.
Mm.
So take time, like 1 hour for a session or half an hour, whatever your time you have, but within that time, you are not rushed. When I was giving a seminar recently, some devotees were joking that, "Oh, I have all the time you want within 1 hour." I have all the time you want for you within 1 hour. But it's nice because, you are fully present.
Yeah.
It's not just joking, but it's actually, you're fully present for them. You are there for them in that hour, fully, 100%, 108%.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess it's the way you frame it as well. It's like, we have a whole hour here, so I'm in no hurry. It's
Right.
a way to frame it, rather than, "Oh, look, we've only got an hour, so we better get moving."
Okay. Number 8, operate on the basis then that better than does not necessarily mean the best.
Right.
Something can be better than something, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best.
Mm.
So this can be explored. So this has to do with comparison, comparing yourself with others or with yourself, and so one can think, what would be the best?
Yeah, I like that.
Number 9, treat feelings as facts requiring serious consideration.
Can you repeat that one?
Treat feelings as facts requiring serious consideration.
Mm.
This is a tricky one.
Mm.
Yes, please.
Oh, just the idea that feelings, they shouldn't be discounted, but they should be honored as important.
Yes. Seriously, honored. Even if they may be, like sometimes devotees say, "Oh, that's just sentimental."
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, it may be sentimental, but this is my sentiment at the moment, and I can help it. I'm completely overwhelmed by this, and I need to express it or speak about it.
Yeah.
So, taking feelings seriously and allowing expression of feelings 10. Refrain from telling people what to do and how to do it. Now, this is a more general instruction because the thinking partner normally wouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah.
11. Ask more questions of people than you offer solutions when they have a problem to solve.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes to you and say, I have a problem, what do you think? And can you help me? And the first question you can ask is, have you already thought about the possible solutions? Have you thought about this? And if they haven't, I have something from Brian Tracy, a famous success teacher. He asks people to write down 20 ideas how to solve a problem or achieve a goal. So he asks people to think on paper. Thinking on paper can be much more effective than just thinking aloud. So sometimes it requires them to think very deeply because they will write it down and see it there just in front of them, black and white, and it will be easier for them to understand how real it is. Number 12, ensure that people around you get an equal opportunity to speak. Now, this is especially relevant to meetings.
Yeah.
Because as we know, in meetings, some people speak too much and some people speak too little or don't speak at all.
Yeah.
But with this thinking approach, you want everybody to say something and they have a certain amount of time and they will be listened to and they will not be interrupted.
Yeah.
Number 13, seek the views of people from different fields or backgrounds before making important decisions.
Yeah. That's important because there's a tendency to associate with people of a like mind, and if we keep always sort of getting the point of view from them, it can become like a group think, where we all sort of think in a similar way, and getting input from people that have see it from a different angle can be really helpful.
So this is one of the principles of a mastermind group.
Yes.
Where people come with the attitude of valuing differences, valuing opposition. They're not afraid to be challenged.
Yes.
4, encourage others to consider alternative possibilities in their thinking.
Yep.
15, take time to think as a matter of course. Now, some people might not understand, which are not English like native English speakers, what this means. As far as I understand, you can correct me, take time to think as a regular habit.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So take some time to think daily or weekly and just be in a quiet place, think for yourself. Or take time to think in the presence of a friend who is willing to facilitate your higher quality thinking. So you can have regular sessions, thinking sessions.
Yeah, it just reminds me, like what you're talking about with the coaching partnership is an obvious, structure for helping with the thinking. There's a popular book that came out recently called Deep Work by Cal Newport. And what he recommends is to go for a walk and only think about one particular thing. And it's a way of focusing the mind. So it's a specific skill of thinking. But like if you have one particular problem or something you want to work on, he said you go for a walk, you don't take your phone or don't go with anybody, but just walk with only that idea in mind, and just, try to keep your mind just on that one thing. And he said it was a very powerful way of developing the thinking muscle as well.
So this is great. Yes, this is wonderful contribution to this whole process of facilitating better thinking. Now, facilitating better thinking is not limited to these 10 components. And as you said now, I have personal experience also. I can confirm that walking makes me think better, especially walking in nature.
Yeah.
So we recommend also, it can be 41st habit, walk and think. So thank you so much. This is wonderful. 16, tell the people around you what you appreciate about them. This will help their thinking, appreciation. And we already spoke about this in our first part.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't do it enough. We do it too little. So I recommend like 12 compliments a day. For example, to your wife or kids.
Yeah.
It's basically every hour, like from 8 to 8.
Yeah, I mean, just like the 6 Goswamis, right? It says Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Nati Bi, or something like that. Excuse my Sanskrit. But Sankhya means a counted number. They would do obeisances a certain number of times each day. Just like they'll do a certain number of rounds every day, like we also do. They would also offer obeisances a certain number of times every day. In a way, that's a type of respecting and appreciating too, I guess. But there's nothing wrong with, making a number like that. This is what the Goswamis showed by their example. And that's the way that we can develop the habit, by just doing it by numerical strength.
Choosing your number for a day, it can be 12, it can be 6. When I said to some grihastas 12, they say, oh, that's too much. So then I said 6. Try 6 compliments to your wife, or 6 hugs a day, or 12 hugs a day. It can be expression of appreciation, but it can be also expression of love.
Yes. That's great.
17. Express your feelings about issues as well as your thoughts.
Yeah.
So this is the advantage of the thinking session, where they can express what they think, they can express what they feel. Nobody will judge them, nobody will interrupt them. And unless it's something extreme, like planning to commit suicide, then you will just listen.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something
18.
Like in our society, that you've mentioned earlier on. There's a tendency to minimize feelings that are, we have to be philosophical and, don't be sentimental and things like that. But feelings are a very important part of our whole being, and they need to be honored.
Yes, we have a tendency to neglect our feelings, fearing that they're material, sentimental. But it stifles thinking.
Yes.
Keep your eyes, number 18, keep your eyes on the person who is speaking. If you are, face-to-face or video.
Yeah. So
that's clear. So we are almost near the half of the habits. More and maybe at the half.
Yeah, no, these are great. Keep going.
19. Ensure that decisions are made on the basis of what is known to be true. This is for meetings, for groups. Now, at the moment, I'm not studying this very much and not practicing.
Right.
So I can't say much about this.
Yeah.
20, make a conscious effort to rearrange your physical surroundings to make them more conducive to relaxed thinking. So we spoke about this in our first session, how to make a nice space, nice atmosphere with no interruptions, not too cold, not too hot, nice smells, nice lighting, and then also make sure that person is not in physical pain or that we are in physical pain. So things like that.
Yeah, I would add something to this as well. There's a book recently that's come out, which I like, called Willpower Doesn't Work. And the whole premise of the book is that just trying to force yourself to do something different doesn't work, because our environment is what makes us do things the way we do them. So the way to actually change is to change your environment. And by changing your environment, you change your results. And one example that he gives in that book, or suggestion, is that we go to a specific place for a specific type of work or a specific type of state. So, for example, if, when we're at home, there's a certain mood there. But if we want to be really focused, we might find that it's better if we go out to the park, or we go to the library, or go to a different place that's more conducive for that type of work. So I think it can be like that as well for this specific type of thinking, that if we go to a different place than our regular place, it also allows us to, the novelty or something, can help us to think better.
Right. So if we really want to think better, we can ask ourselves regularly, what kind of environment will help me think better?
Yes.
And even if we don't have a thinking partner, we can try to create better environment for our thinking by walking outside in nature, by going to a more peaceful place, by not bringing a phone with us, maybe, or, bringing a phone can be helpful, actually, because you can record your thoughts.
Yeah.
I do this.
Yeah. Like, it's like thinking on paper or thinking into the microphone. Similar idea.
Yeah, it can maybe helpful, but I don't have internet always with me, internet connection, so it doesn't interrupt my thinking because I don't see messages from others. I just use the recorder. So, things like this, we can think, okay, what will help me think better? Yeah. Some people really like to think on paper.
Yeah.
And they come up with, you have heard about the technique called free writing. Free writing is also thinking on paper and putting down your thoughts. So there is many things we can do to help our own thinking, the quality of our own thinking. Yeah. 21, encourage others to be themselves and not to conform to your way of doing things.
Yeah.
Or to your way of thinking. Now, this one is tough in ISKCON because many times we have people who are right or who think they are right, or they want to impose their way of thinking, or because something is shastric, then they or sounds like shastric, they think they're always right, but there is time, place, and circumstance, and the persons involved. So I think we need to encourage people to use their free will more and to not just blindly accept what you say just because you're a senior.
Yeah.
22. Challenge others to question their own assumptions. To me, this one is one of the most important, and it has to do with incisive questions.
Yeah.
To challenge our own assumptions, we want to challenge our own limiting assumptions, and we want to transform them. We want to turn them into liberating assumptions.
Yeah.
23. Look for ways to build the confidence and self-esteem of those around you. So now we want to do it in a Krishna conscious way. We don't want to pump up somebody's false ego, but we want them to build their confidence in Krishna and to respect the fact that they are the part of God, that they are spirit soul, that they are Ashtaryavat, or amazing. They have potential, but this potential is now covered, and by the process of Krishna consciousness, this potential can be released. So we want a Krishna conscious way to do this, not some New Age way or some mundane way.
Yeah.
24, maintain your confidence in the presence of people in authority or more senior than you. Now, maybe it's not easy to understand this, that don't allow presence of people you may be afraid of to stifle or to limit your thinking. With someone, I have seen it. I was very fearful in the beginning because devotees seemed superior in all ways. And then, when sometimes senior devotee or your master would ask, I would almost never try to answer because I thought I'm stupid, I'm materialistic, sentimental. But other devotees, they actually volunteered to give an idea or to answer, and then I saw how Guru was pleased because they were thinking more clearly and they felt free to think. But I was, because of this, lack of confidence and fearfulness, I didn't say anything.
Feeling intimidated.
Just feeling stifled, feeling by my own fear. Just, like, or this negative self-talk.
Right, yeah.
Negative self-talk limits our thinking and stifles our intelligence. 25, remain mindful of your own physical comfort needs when meeting others. This refers to a thinking partner or a coach, that you also have to be, in a situation where you can think well, even though you're listening more and you're not a thinker in this case or a thinking partner, but still it's important for your concentration, for your focus, to be able to have a good environment for your own thinking or for your own listening.
Yeah.
The physical comfort. 26. Allow people to finish their own sentences rather than jumping in to finish them on their behalf.
Oh boy, I've had a bad habit of that one, for sure.
You see, I also feel bad when I hear this, because maybe we think we are helpful. We want to help them. They're struggling to finish the sentence. If we help them, we have done a good deed. But here, this is discouraged. Let them think. Silence is okay. We feel comfortable with silence.
Yeah.
27. Tend to notice what is already good in a situation as well as what could be improved.
Yeah.
This is a bee mentality as opposed to fly mentality.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean become blind. We also see what needs to be improved, but we want to focus on what is good.
Yeah.
But there is another technique called Appreciative Inquiry, where all the questions are based on seeing what is good in the company, in the situation, in the organization, in the team. And then they ask questions based on this. They don't neglect improvement, but this is their main focus.
Right.
28. Recognize and attempt to minimize competitive behavior between friends and colleagues.
Yeah.
So opposite of competitive is cooperative.
Yeah.
This is good for meetings, for working with teams. 29, hold back from trying to solve other people's problems. So this is similar as the previous point, that resist of giving people solutions.
Yeah.
But ask them questions and help them to think about how to solve their own problems.
Yep.
30, encourage others to challenge your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to do this, you have to be very courageous, and you have to give up false ego. Check your ego at the door.
Yeah. Definitely it's requires courage.
Srila Prabhupada would sometimes ask he would say something or propose something, and he would ask his disciples, what do you think? And then sometimes some of them would say, oh, well, this is not a very good idea, or I have a better idea, or they would say something that is a better idea. So Srila Prabhupada would encourage others to express their point of view. And here it says even to challenge our point of view.
Yeah.
31, actively encourage others to say what they really think.
Yeah.
It's nice. 32, make time for others when they need to talk.
Yeah.
I like this one.
Yeah.
Usually we are in a rush. We don't have time to listen to people we say are important to us. And when you say this, then I don't believe you. I'm important to you.
Yeah. I think this is an important part of lifestyle as well, that we want to arrange our life that we're not so busy that it's hard to find time.
Mm-hmm.
If it's possible to arrange our life in a way that we can be a little bit flexible, so that when we need to meet with people, we can do it. I think that helps.
Do you have 3 children?
Yes.
Do you ask them from time to time, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I do, especially for the older boys. Try to see what their thinking is on things, instead of just giving my idea all the time.
Uh-huh. And do you have experience that sometimes they give you something really, really amazing?
Yeah, definitely.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, especially I've got one of my sons, he's got quite a creative thinker, and he kind of thinks of things in a way that no one else would have thought of, you know.
I mean, children can be really, really amazing source of ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, 34, ask what if questions of the people around you.
Did you do 33? I think we skipped 33.
Oh yes, 33, express thanks, both written and verbal, at every opportunity.
Right.
Oh, this is very important. Thank you for shifting me back. Important to express thanks. Oh my God, fantastic. We don't do this enough.
Yeah, I don't, that's for sure. This has been great, this whole session.
34.
Even if this wasn't a podcast and no one else was hearing it, I'm getting so much benefit out of it myself. Just thinking, oh yeah, I can do this, I can do this. So many things that can help make my life better. It's really great.
Mm-hmm. This is not only a technique for mentors or for Bhakti Vriksha leaders or for counselors. This is like a changing a culture of our lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
34, ask what if questions of the people around you. Krishna Prabhu, what if you could give a talk for 2,000 people? What if everything goes well? What if you get another offer for 5,000 people?
Yeah.
35, ensure that you do not interrupt others when they are speaking.
Yeah.
So in our conversation today, I tried to follow this. I made a couple of mistakes, but I tried to not interrupt you. And I hope to improve in this area. 36. Take conscious steps to maintain a relaxed presence. Now we spoke about ease, so this is in relation to ease.
Yeah.
No rush, no urgency, relaxed presence. 37. Make a conscious effort to ensure that your position, authority, grade, seniority does not stop others from telling you what they really think. This is a tough one for ISKCON.
Yeah. Can you read that again from the beginning?
Make a conscious effort to ensure that your position, authority, seniority, or grade does not stop others from telling you what they really think.
Yeah, very.
I have seen some gurus encourage their disciples to be very honest, give them very honest feedback about their class, about their dealings with others. And sometimes even after maybe a conversation with someone, when that person leaves, then they ask them, so what do you think? Have I advised them well? And then the disciple can say, well, maybe you could have said this too, or something. So this is in line with this, that it doesn't matter that I'm in higher position, but I want to hear what you really think.
Yeah. That is tricky. I've seen that type of situation where, like the guru, for example, might ask that and may genuinely want to hear, but the disciple might feel, oh, it's not my place to say anything, you know?
Yeah. Well, Prabhupada did that. He asked his disciples, what do they think about something?
Yeah. True.
38. Consider other people's physical comfort as important when they are with you.
Yep.
Again, this is about space, about the condition of their body. So we have spoke about this already.
Yep.
And Krishnendu Prabhu, believe it or not, we have only 2 more. We have done a huge work here.
Yeah, okay. Amazing.
39. Remain calm and relaxed when someone is openly expressing how they are feeling.
Right.
Now, I would like to take opportunity to commend or glorify a devotee with whom I was working for 6 years at ISKCON London. It's Mahadyuti Maharaj. At that time, he was a brahmachari when I worked with him. And he would have me being present with him at various meetings, and especially with ladies, because he wouldn't want to speak alone with them, as he's a brahmachari. He was a brahmachari. So I was present, and I have never seen any. I was present and translating or being present with sannyasis, with gurus, but I have never seen anyone do this. And it's such a sensitive act of, consideration. So whenever the lady would come to talk to us, Mataji, he would have a box of tissues.
Sorry.
and usually, like 90% of the time, at some point, the Mataji would cry.
Wow.
And he would not say anything. He wouldn't preach. He wouldn't try to calm her down or something. He would just give her a tissue.
Yeah.
And it helps so much, because your nose is wet and you're embarrassed and you don't want to get up. And it's the only thing you need at that moment is tissue. So I was so pleased and impressed to see this, because he's known as strict.
Mm-hmm.
He's known that devotees sometimes are afraid of him, but this was such a wonderful thing. And I also, in my conversations, I tried to bring tissues also.
Mm.
Although in my sessions people don't cry so much, but it's a wonderful thing. So he remained calm, he remained relaxed, and he gave them a tissue.
Mm. Can you repeat what that one was? Remain openly calm and relaxed.
Yes. When they are openly expressing their feelings, how
Right.
they are feeling.
Right.
And the last one is 40. Look for the strengths in those around you rather than the weaknesses.
Mm.
So again, this is being very encouraging, very supportive, seeing the devotee who is a thinker in front of you as someone who is full of potential, who is sincere, who is capable, and people can feel that, and this helps them.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we have done. So do you have any other comments or questions?
Well, I was taking notes on everyone as we went. Well, we've covered so much. I mean, from the previous time we were talking about the thinking sessions, and then the 10 principles, which have been basically expanded in these 40 thinking habits that we've gone into today.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, each one of these has got so much. Sorry, I'm not speaking into the mic. Each one of these has so much potential for making a difference in someone's life. It's been great. I'm just thinking, what would be a good way to recall them? I mean, it might be worth writing them down and flipping over a paper every day and looking at one habit a day for a month or so, just to remind about these, because we went through them so quickly. They're the sort of thing that's good to be reminded about. That was just one thought that came to mind.
Well, they are available in written form already. I will send them to you.
Yeah, that'll be great. And what would you recommend, having heard, what you've discussed up until now, what would be a good next step for a devotee that wants to put these into practice?
I'm available. Anybody can contact me if they want to have a thinking session with me. They can have a thinking partnership with me, or just practice once or twice and then start thinking partnerships with anyone they like.
That's great.
And I can send them the book. I can send them the link where they can read articles, hear the speeches about this by the author. And I recommend 3 things: learn and practice, learn and practice, learn and practice.
That's 3 things, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in this second session, I would like to mention my contact details.
Sure.
Because I want to serve devotees as a follow-up to this session. Anyone who is interested can contact me on Gmail. My email is gitaseva108@gmail.com. Gita as in Bhagavad Gita, Gita, and Seva, Seva. So it's all together, gitaseva108. It's all one word. My Facebook is Gita Seva, 2 words. And I post inspirational quotes. I also post things related to this almost on a daily basis.
And you post a lot of questions to get people to think.
What did you say before? I didn't hear everything.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that on your Facebook page, you often will post questions to get devotees to think.
Yes, questions. I like to ask questions rather than telling people what to do, because I like to stimulate their intelligence and their thinking. And this process is a very refined way of facilitating higher quality thinking. And I think that all devotees will benefit from this. I'm also on Twitter as Gita Seva, on Instagram as Gita Seva, and I am on Skype. My Skype is Gita Seva 108. Also, we can speak through WhatsApp and Viber, but my number, if you contact me, I can give you my number. So through all these social media, you can contact me and I can help you if you like to learn about this and practice with me or with others.
Yeah, that's a great offer and a great opportunity. I'm sure after listening to these couple of episodes that there'll be devotees who really think that, wow, I'd like to go further and learn more. And so it's very generous of you that you've offered your time and services to help devotees with that. And it's a great service you're offering, very valuable.
Thank you, Prabhu. All the materials I offer will be completely free of charge, but I will not refuse donations.
Yes. Dadati Pratigrinati, right? The offering.
As a traveling teacher and coach, so I don't mind, but it's not obligatory.
Yeah, no, that's very generous of you, Prabhu. And I've known you for quite a few years now, and I've always appreciated your positivity and your generosity in sharing things with me and with others. And so I'd just like to appreciate you for that.
One thing that all listeners can help me with is that they can help me with their ideas how to Krishnaize this system to the max. Because I'm just starting to develop it, I'm starting to Krishnaize it, and when I asked some devotees for ideas, I was really surprised that they gave me wonderful ideas, different angles of how they see it. And it will help to Krishnaize it and to make it available for devotees for their service.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because these principles are definitely connected with the principles of Krishna consciousness. It's just making that connection and making it obvious. So yeah, I really like that idea. And hopefully we can hear from some devotees and start some discussion about how these ideas can be connected with Krishna consciousness and, you know, seeing their origin in Krishna consciousness too.
Yes. Exactly. So I want to say, give a great Haribol to everyone from Slovenia. Today we will have a festival, appearance day of Lord Balaram, and there will be many guests. It's raining for the last 24 hours, non-stop. So I think devotees have been doing a lot of yagya, and now the rain is falling as a result. So we cannot complain. But here devotees are renovating the temple room, and they have huge Panchatattva deities, but at the moment they are not in the temple room because it's being renovated for their pleasure. And we are gathering in a smaller place. But this yatra is amazing. Slovenia is 2 million people. They used to be the number one temple in small temples in book distribution in 1996. And they're always very well organized, and they have live broadcasts from their temple. And it's a wonderful, wonderful place for spiritual inspiration.
That sounds great. Well, thank you, Prabhu. I hope you have a great festival with all of the wonderful devotees there and with the blessings of Lord Balaram. And I look forward to hearing from you again, and I look forward to hearing the feedback from the devotees that have heard these podcast episodes and how they apply them to help their own thinking as well as, to help their devotees in their communities. So thank you very much for sharing that with us, Prabhu, and let's be in touch.
Thank you very much, Krishnendu Prabhu. I really appreciate your work with successful Vaishnavas. I think it's a great, great service, and many, many devotees are getting inspiration from this. from your work, from your service. From time to time, some of my friends contact me and they say, "Have you seen this?" And they send me a link. And I say, "Yes, I have seen it, and it's great." So, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share these tools for devotee success.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a pleasure, and I think it's really valuable for everybody. So, yeah, thank you, Prabhu, and until next time, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks for listening. To find out more, go to successfulvaishnavas.com.
Whatever little service that anyone can do for Krishna is to be appreciated and celebrated.
Just give this life to Krishna.
We know that they have much more potential than they are presently using.
I went to a place of relishing the activity and letting go of the result completely.
You just associate with pure devotees. Then you shall be able to cross over the ocean of nescience.